Oh, we are live, finally. I didn't think this was going to happen. We were having some severe audio issues. We were having issues with the stream, the encoding keys. Wow. So we are finally alive. Welcome to the very first episode of Up in the Air. This is a brand new series I'm going to do. I'm going to try to do it every Monday with everything going accordingly. So if you're new here, consider hitting that subscribe button at the end of the video if you like what you see. Of course, if you don't, that other button tends to work just fine as well. I'm Original Dobo, and welcome to Up in the Air. So let's get started with today's video. I had a lot of things planned initially, but obviously I just got some news just before the show started, so we'll cover that as well. But let's just jump into the first thing today, and that is the notch effect. And if that's not your thing, little pun, you know, notch your thing, you can just hang out and wait to the next topic. But we're going to jump into talking about this notch. It seems like this is totally swept over the tech community the past few days. People have actually been flipping out over this Android adapting the notch from the iPhone X. So let's go ahead and just talk about this here. Scenes here. Got some topics pulled up here. And where is my notch effect? So if you're unfamiliar with what I'm talking about, it is this right here. This Android almost abomination where Android OEMs are now accommodating, or I should say copying or imitating, flattering, whatever you want to say, the notch from the iPhone X. And you know, it's funny, it's not even a matter of, you know, if this would have happened. It was always when it would happen. It seems like everything the iPhone does, Android will eventually adapt, vice versa. But unfortunately, this time around, they have taken the lesser of the flattering features of the iPhone X. So, something interesting to think about. I think, you know, overall, I'm not a fan of the notch. I think it actually is okay. It's not really a big thing. I think where it really falls apart is when you get to the bottom of these devices and you look at this chin. This chin is just huge in many of these phones here. And I think that's really the bigger issue is the chin here. Let's go ahead and see if we can minimize this here so we can bring it up the screen here. There we go. How about that? So looking at some of these phones, really not too bad. I think that Oppo R15 probably looks the best. It's got the most minimal of all chins on all these devices here. So really not too bad of a device. And then you got the Zenfone 5, which is obviously just a shameless ripoff of the iPhone X. But, you know, excuse me, I want to pass the question. Is my stream offline? Is it online? Offline? What are we at here? Says I'm online. You know, this is part of a live show here. It's, you know, it says I'm offline. Am I offline or am I online? I have no idea. Apparently I am still online. Okay, so whatever. We'll just pretend that didn't happen. Of course it did. But anyways, so I want to pass the question off to you all. I mean, is this something that is a big deal? Do you care about this notch? I mean, me personally, I don't have an iPhone X. I don't think the notch is really all that hindering. I think it actually looks sort of cool, to be quite honest. But that's, you know, again, that is just me, my personal taste. But yeah, so that is the notch effect. Again, just something to think about here. And let's go ahead and turn that off. I'm tired of looking at it at this point. So let's talk Mavic Pro II. So this is an interesting subject actually, because like just before I was getting ready to go live and start talking about this, One of my buddies had sent me an article about the Mavic Pro II, and that the notorious leaker Osista LV has been sort of outed as, you know, a bit of a fake. Not, I guess maybe fake is a harsh word, but not an imposter, but just not being entirely accurate. So let me go ahead, let me fire up this article here, and we'll just go over this together. So comes from the source, was it Dronigan? Let's go ahead and pull up that feed on the desktop here. So here it is. So we have this leak here from, it's dronigan.co, and basically he's talking about the event when it was the Mavic Air, and 3 occasions where basically Osista LV was absolutely wrong. So it said same fold-in arm as the Zero Tech Dobby, and he says wrong. Same color as the Inspire 2, wrong, because we all know that that came in 3 different colors. And then same gimbal design as the Mavic Pro, which that was definitely wrong, because we got more of a spark-like sensor, and more of a spark style gimbal with the Mavic Air. So that's interesting. And he's calling him a Twitter hoaxer. I think that's a bit of a stretch. I wouldn't say he's a hoaxer. I think he's making some of the right guesses, and you know, some of them are going to come true. You know, here's the thing: if you throw enough shit against the wall, something's about to stick, and that's really what's happening here. He's taken enough of, you know, I would say guesses, you know, educated guesses here based upon DJI's track record, and some of it's actually holding true and possibly even sticking at that point. But you know, I wouldn't say this is the part of the article I really don't like. He says DJI consumers are continually desperate for information on the future of drone models. I can't tell you that I've ever met somebody that said, I am just desperate to know what DJI is going to put out next. Nobody thinks like that. Like, if you're a drone nerd and this is your realm, this is your sphere, that you absolutely have to know this type of thing and you got to have the latest and greatest, then maybe you're desperate to know. I think that's sort of an asinine statement, if you ask me. So he went on to say a little bit more about it, folded arms, and then he went ahead and deleted some tweets. And I think that's what really tampers your credibility, is when you go back and delete something. So that's, to me, is the equivalent of you're playing roulette and you're betting on red and black and hoping one of them is going to win. Of course you're going to make money, but then of course then all of a sudden it hits green or 00 and you're out. So that's basically, to me, is the equivalent of what he's doing. He's sort of putting his hand in both sides and saying it's 50-50. If you're going to be a leaker and you're going to leak information, you need to have accurate sources when you come to the table and actual renderings. This is just, I mean, sort of silly. And in my book, I mean, he's actually drawn things, like literally drawn things himself. I mean, what is this? I want to see renderings. If you know somebody on the inside, surely they can get you schematics. Don't put out some half-assed drawings. Like, I mean, this is, I mean, anybody can do this. Anybody can write this. I mean, what is this really? So that's just my take. And maybe I'm being a little bit critical on it, but I just think if you're going to be a leaker and you're going to leak information, that you need to have actual tangible proof that, you know, this is going to happen. That's just my take on these leaks. I just sort of think it's a little weird, a little fishy. Flip back over. So Mavic Air or Mavic Pro II release, it's just, I wouldn't even say it's a release. I don't think we're anywhere near release time as of yet. It's something that we'll keep watching. But if you're interested in a drone currently, just go out and buy the Mavic Pro. I think that would probably be your best bet. $769 right now on Amazon. You can't find a better drone for that price, $769. And the prices are going to continue to drop as it gets closer to release time. DJI will send out invites, and then you'll know that it's going to happen. It's just, you know, one of those things that if you're always waiting, you're not flying. If you're not flying, you're not honing your skills. And that's just my thought on the upcoming release. There's no sense in worrying about when something is going to happen. Otherwise, you're always going to be worrying about something. And then the last piece of news, last week, Canon, good old Canon, has announced the Canon M50. And, you know, I was really excited for Canon to announce a 4K camera. Like many people, we all wanted Canon to come out with a camera that was affordable. And when I say affordable, I'm being realistic here. 4K sub, you know, $1,200, somewhere in that range. So Canon actually defied my expectations. I said $1,000. Canon announced the M50, just the body alone, $789. I was like, wow, I gotta have it. I gotta have it. But then Peter McKinnon does his video review, and this is where I can totally respect Peter McKinnon for this. He does this video review with the Canon M50, and the review starts off great. He talks about the crop factor, which you know there's going to be a crop factor when you're shooting in 4K. And for those who don't know what the crop factor typically looks like, I'm just going to bring up here on the screen. This is the crop factor from the 5D Mark III, and you can see, I'm sorry, 5D Mark V shooting in 4K, and you can see it's a 1.7 crop factor. So this is a full frame camera. The red is the full frame, and then the 1.7 is just the 4K alone. So you can see how massive the crop factor is here. Imagine a 1.6 crop factor on an APS-C sensor. That's huge. You lose so much with that crop factor, and the crop factor wasn't, you know, like the biggest deal breaker when we're talking about the M50. The deal breaker comes in to where Canon doesn't include dual pixel autofocus. Canon, what the hell are you doing? Dual pixel autofocus is single-handedly one of Canon's best features when it comes into cameras, and it's probably why a lot of vloggers still to this day don't shoot in 4K. They're relying on that dual pixel autofocus if they're a one-man crew to be able to line them up, get them in frame. I know I do on my SL2. I love the dual pixel autofocus. But watching Peter McKinnon's video, you can see several times where the focus just wasn't there because it's using contrast detection. So it's just, I don't understand it. I'll never understand that. I mean, I guess they're sort of leaving themselves out there for room for improvement, possibly bringing maybe a better camera, possibly something like a successor of the 80D, but maybe a mirrorless body that's going to shoot 4K at a higher frame rate. That's the other thing. You're only getting 24 frames per second, which not necessarily a bad thing, but you have no ability to slow that down. Now, they did bring in 120 frames per second in 720p, but who is shooting 720p anymore? This is 2018. Why is 720p even a thing on a camera? That should be 1080p all day long, 120 frames per second, but it's not. And, you know, there's going to be people that buy it just because this is Canon, and you got your Canon fanboys out there. I'm a Canon fanboy. But yeah, so the M50, I'm a little bit disappointed with the M50 all around. I think it could have been better, and it just wasn't. So I think they just missed the mark on that. But yeah, that's the M50. So that's really it today, guys. That's the 3 talking points I have. You know, it's a little different trying this out here, doing this live stream. I'm not really sold on the OBS. I think, you know, I like that it offers all the ability in the feature set, but I think probably we're going to end up switching this over to Hangouts or something else the next go around. Not only that, we can get other people involved with the chat a little bit easier. I'll have to play around with that later this week, but we had some problems getting the stream going. The keys were wrong. It's just, what a disaster trying to get this going. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. I don't even know how long this has been going on, to be quite honest. It tells me the stream is off on one end and it's on the other. Oh, I'm sorry. 16 minutes. So, wow, 16 minutes. That actually goes a lot faster than you would definitely think. But anyways, guys, I know your time is valuable. My time is precious. I will see you in the next video.